バカだからなんつった
Mob Psycho 100 is an anime based off the webcomic of the same name by mangaka One, better known for his series One Fist Man, the highly regarded webcomic, manga, and anime about an anthropomorphic sex addict and his robot boyfriend. Mob Psycho is about Shigeo Kageyama, or Mob, a middle school boy who nobody understands.
Mom and Dad and Vicky always giving him command.
お前らはなんだって
Mob has ridiculously strong psychic powers, which makes him an Esper, which are basically just psychics. However, even though Mob has these psychic powers, he's overly reluctant to use them, to the degree where he just kinda wishes he didn't even have them. Because of this reluctance to use these powers, Mob has built up a psychosomatic condition where he suppresses his emotions in order to prevent his powers from getting out of hand. However, when an emotion is built to 100%, hence the 100, he unleashes the full extent of his powers, even though Mob doesn't see much reason to use his powers, since they don't help him get things he wants. Like the ladies. His master and mentor, Reagan, does. Reagan is a self-proclaimed psychic who claims to exercise spirits. And I say claim because he's not actually a psychic. He's a con artist. Ronald Reagan acts as Mob's teacher and master, while also dragging him along in his schemes to exorcise ghosts. Although you might initially think that Reagan just uses Mob for his abilities, it becomes apparent quite early on that he genuinely cares about Mob, both for his general safety and for his emotional and personal state. Throughout his years with Mob, he's bestowed upon him words of wisdom and morals to live by, while also paying him as little as possible because he's a hack fraud. It's from Reagan that Mob gains two of the major morals he lives by, as well as two of the big themes of the series. 1. Psychic powers don't make you better than anybody else. And 2. Never use psychic powers against another person. Reagan teaches Mob that just because he has a special ability or a talent, that doesn't make him better than anyone else. It's just the same as being good at swimming, or being good at running, or being good at catfishing. Likewise, just because you have that talent doesn't mean that you can use it against other people. Rather, you should use it to help others in some way or another. And initially, this feels kinda odd since it's coming from Reagan, who, after all, is a con artist. But when you observe the way Reagan goes about his cons, he's actually trying to help people. He charges the lowest rates in the city for the duties he does, and in one way or another, he helps the people that seek help, whether that be having Mob exercise his spirit or by performing one of his special techniques, which are easily some of the funniest moments of the series. The humor of the show could best be summed up as dry. Like my throat right now. Although a lot of it comes from how absurd the whole series is, the main source of humor just comes from this desert-like dryness, which is perfect when your main character is a person who has issues channeling their emotions. Outside of Mob and Reagan, Mob Psycho 100 is filled with other interesting characters, such as Ritsu, Mob's younger brother and the pinnacle of desire in Mob's eye. To Mob, Ritsu is everything he wants to be, being smart, charming, and most of all, popular.
I am awesome, and everyone else sucks nuts!
On the other hand, there's Dimple, an upper-class evil spirit who's obsessed with achieving godhood and has the ability to possess people, much like how I possess an endless amount of useless knowledge, such as that Billy Joel once failed at killing himself with furniture polish, thinking it would taste better than bleach. And I don't blame him. Bleach is a pretty boring anime. But you know what isn't boring? Mob Psycho 100. I feel that the anime can be divided up into 3 parts: the first 3 episodes, the middle 4 episodes, and the final 5 episodes. I've heard a lot of people complain about the first 3 episodes and how episodic they are compared to the rest of the series, where each episode transitions into the next. And although it is true that the first 3 are more episodic, that isn't necessarily a bad thing. The first 3 episodes are about establishing Mob's relationship with Reagan, establishing his adherence to using his psychic powers, and establishing his desires, such as wanting to get his hands soaking wet, if you know what I mean. He's really into personal hygiene. The middle part is about other Espers and how Mob interacts with them, with the final part being about the overarching plot that ties all of Mob Psycho 100 together. Much like how I'd love to tie together all my friends to force them to watch this show. Visually, Mob Psycho 100 is a beautiful show. Mob Psycho could have easily gone the route of One Punch Man and could have gone down a more standard anime look, but instead they based it more off of one style, which at first glance seems rather basic, but it translates really well into animation. It is easily one of the most colorful anime out there, and is just super creative with the animation, both in the way characters move as well as with the designs, especially with the supernatural elements, with the best part being how spirits sometimes appear as glass paintings, which is the same technique used for the ED. But now, my friends, this is the part of the show where I get into spoilers. If you haven't seen the show yet, I highly recommend skipping to this time to avoid getting spoiled like an antagonist in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I feel that one of the things people tend to really misunderstand about this show is that it's not as much of an action anime as you'd initially think. Although there is a decent amount of fights, all of which are beautifully animated, these aren't really the main focus of the show. Rather, the show goes on to discuss how these fights are bad, at least when they're between two humans. Mob Psycho 100 is more of a pacifist story than anything. Not in the sense that violence is absolutely wrong, but in the sense that if there's any other alternative, that's what should be taken. There were a lot of people who were upset that Mob didn't get to go full out in the season finale by wiping out the rest of Claw's 7th Division. This is a gross misunderstanding of what Mob is about. Despite everything, despite his powers, Mob is still just a kid, and for him to use his powers to harm someone or even kill someone, especially when he's just a kid, that would destroy him, especially when he's already so emotionally and psychologically broken. What the 7th Division represent, and what Claw in general represents, is what Mob would become if he gave him the idea that he was special and above everyone else because of his powers, and purely used them for self-gain. By refusing to use them and by following Reagan's orders, Mob denies the temptation to become these adults, and instead, lets the adult handle the situation in what may be one of the best moments of animation this year, 1000% gratitude. Like, seriously, this moment paired up with episode 11 solidified Reagan as my favorite character of the series. The ending weirdly reminded me of Avatar: The Last Airbender and how strangely pacifistic it was. As a person who doesn't care for violence, this ending was super satisfying. It's easily one of my favorite endings to date, along with The Last Airbender, Whiplash, and my life. I also feel that the Body Improvement Club is easily one of the best twists in the entire series. While at first glance it makes sense that Mob would join the Telepathy Club, and maybe the club would change over time and would actually do things because of his involvement, the fact that he joins the Body Improvement Club is satisfying on both a comedy level and from a thematic standpoint. The Body Improvement Club is the embodiment of Mob's ideals, that one should always be working towards improving themselves, rather than resting on their natural talents. The Body Improvement Club, despite being really strong, hates violence and only uses it as a means to protect themselves and those they care about. And hey, when dog loving is one of your members' best stats, you know they're a group that deserves some love. They genuinely care for Mob and only want to see him become a better person. Much like how each of them are just trying to become better, much like how Mob helps others become better people, just from their encounters with him. But the question is Mob Psycho 100 better than One Punch Man? Personally, yes. Yes, it is. And that's not to say that One Punch Man is a bad show. On the contrary, it's pretty freaking amazing. I mean, have you listened to the OP? I'm surprised that one could write a series that's even better than the one everyone knows him for. But with Studio Bones saying that there's plans for a second season, all I can say is go watch the show if you haven't. You're going to watch it through Crunchyroll, you say. Good choice. Crunchyroll, please sponsor me.
Psycho killer, qu'est-ce que c'est? Run, 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 run away. Ah, psycho killer, qu'est-ce que c'est? Better. Run, 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 run.
There is a plane, and it is loud, and I don't appreciate that. I just want to record my voice and not the sounds of airplanes. Because the sounds of airplanes are not what people came to hear. And I do not appreciate that. And it's still there. It hasn't gone away. Where's the plane? I hear it, but I don't see it. Where the hell did it go? Is it far enough away yet? It just... Oh, I can see the moon. The moon's out. Huh. Neat. Okay, I think the plane's gone. Back to recording.